Today, I will be introducing a conservative writer, speaker, and podcast host. Originally from the United Kingdom, he moved to the United States after graduating from Oxford with a bachelor's and master's degree in computer science. Before entering the world of political commentary, he worked in Silicon Valley as a software engineer. During this time, he spent almost 4 years working at Facebook, including on their misinformation team as part of the fact-checking part of the organization. He then joined the Daily Wire to speak out against the growing anti-conservative nature of big tech and to advocate in favor of fundamental American conservative principles from his perspective as an immigrant from the UK. While at the Daily Wire, he created news and commentary articles and videos. He was the voice on the hit daily news show Morning Wire. He's also been published in townhall.com, The American Mind, The Washington Examiner, and The Daily Caller, The Times of Israel, The Federalist, and numerous other news media outlets. He speaks regularly on college campuses and also appears on television and radio outlets, including Fox Business, One American News Network, and Newsmax, and is currently the host of Off Limits on YouTube. So without further ado or hearing any more of my voice, it is my honor to present Ian Haworth.
Hi, everyone. Oh, that's nice. I never get a reply. Everyone's just staring at me awkwardly, so that's a good start already. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure working with YAF, and hopefully we will make it back home without being targeted by Biden's DOJ, so fingers crossed. So the title of this event is Liberty versus Lunacy. And first off, that's a great title, but it's also quite literally what's happening in our country right now. Pennsylvania just looked at 2 candidates, one who can comprehend language and one who can't, and said, yeah, I'll take the guy who can't talk. And the goal of this retreat is to dig into some ways we can all fight against examples of lunacy in our country. But when it comes to lunacy, there are almost too many examples to choose from. There's the economic chaos sparked by Joe Biden and his party deciding to spend more money than humanity has ever seen. There's our foreign policy collapse with Russia invading Ukraine because they knew they could under Biden, and Congress voting again and again and again to send them billions upon billions upon billions of dollars, all while China looks on with glee. There's the radical LGBTQ, ABCDEFG, EIEIO agenda being pushed by woke perverts onto our children. There's CRT, there's gun rights, there's the left's obsession with the pagan cult of environmentalism. But there's another layer of lunacy that to me sticks out, the lunacy of abortion. Abortion is the greatest crime in modern America. Nothing today comes close. Even though it's been a pretty eventful year for the pro-life movement, people are fighting to protect abortion harder than ever before, especially after Roe v. Wade was overturned. And while overturning Roe v. Wade is a huge deal, honestly something I didn't think would ever happen, things have never been more divisive. Yes, we overturn Roe v. Wade, but are we really closer to ending abortion? Not really. Exit polls from the midterms show that for a lot of voters, abortion mattered more than crime or the economy. And while this is insane, hence the lunacy, we've got to ask ourselves what we can do about it. What are we doing wrong? Well, that's a complicated question, but I want to focus on one thing that we could fix overnight that would stop 70% of abortions from ever happening. Men need to step up. So let me back up and start from the beginning. Whenever I speak about abortion, especially as a man, I get a bunch of the same responses over and over. So here's a list of examples, and I'm sure many of you have heard these same ones. You hate women. Abortion is a constitutional right. You want to force women into pregnancy. You want women to die. You want women to have back alley abortions. What about women who get raped? You just want to control women's bodies. It's her body, her choice. Abortion is vital health care. If you don't want an abortion, don't get one. It's just a bundle of cells. The list really goes on. And then there are a bunch of responses that make gender the gatekeeper issue. They say things like, why do you even care about abortion if you're a man? You can't get pregnant. No uterus, no opinion. If men could get pregnant, there would be drive-through abortion clinics. Now, first off, can we all enjoy sort of the irony of this statement? You have the Democratic Party that is insisting that women can become men and men can become women at any point they want. There's not even an age limit. Children are apparently capable of making this decision, and anyone who pushes back in any way is labeled as a bigot. Even when it comes to adult men like Leah Thomas, balls and all, he can say he's a woman, and that's all the proof we're supposed to need. Biological sex, they tell us, is irrelevant, except when it comes to abortion. When it comes to abortion, sex is suddenly back on the table. When they really need it, they'll whip out biological reality and cry victim. Suddenly, men and women are not the same thing. Suddenly, men and women are not interchangeable. Suddenly, men are not permitted to have an opinion because they are a man, if it's the wrong opinion. In an instant, they went from telling us that men can get pregnant and give birth and breastfeed or chest feed to telling us that men can't oppose abortion because they don't have a uterus. So how do we debunk these male-specific responses, and how does this bring me to what we as men can do differently to fight for life? First, let's take the response, why do you even care if you're a man? The answer is simple, I care because murder is wrong, and that murder is wrong whether I'm a man, woman, black, white, or green. Next, you can't get pregnant. Again, so what? My biological ability or inability to get pregnant has nothing to do with the morality of ending that pregnancy. There's the fan favorite, no uterus, no opinion. Same answer. Morality doesn't change based on what organs I have. But I want to focus on this one. If men could get pregnant, there would be drive-through abortion clinics. And why am I focusing on this one? Well, because I actually think it's true. If men could get pregnant, way more men would support abortion. Not all men, of course, but more men than we are comfortable with admitting. And why? It's because most men suck. It's true. So, quick caveat, the men of today's broken society suck. Not all men, a lot of men. Again, this is all built on the biological fact that men and women are different. Women and men, on average, have different attitudes to relationship, sex, and children. Not better or worse, different. And at the center of this difference is the fact that only women can get pregnant. Given that pregnancy is the biological aim of sex, sex comes with the possible consequence of pregnancy. Some people call that a chance, some people call it a terrifying risk, but regardless of how you frame it, if you have sex, the woman might get pregnant. And the fact is that the stakes are higher for the woman than the man in a valueless society. The man, unburdened by the physical existence of pregnancy, can leave. He can leave 30 seconds after sex. He can leave any time before the baby is born. He can even leave after the baby is born. Men have been doing this for as long as men have existed. The same, thank goodness, could not be said for women. But abortion makes all this much easier for men. It's a get-out-of-jail-free card that saves them from the hassle of even having to pack their bags. Even better, for these men at least, now that some women have embraced abortion anytime, anywhere, for any reason, they don't even need convincing. The original goal of the feminist movement, generally, was to even the playing field, which I think is an important and moral aim. But there are two ways to achieve equality beyond things like equal rights when we think about morality and behavior. The first is to make men better, not to feminize men, but to make men gentlemen. The second is to make women worse. To make women like men, the worst types of men. And driven by the modern feminist movement, many people have chosen the second option. The goal, and they're pretty open about this, is to make women like men in all the worst ways. Part of this is to enable careless promiscuity by cementing abortion access in place. Now, women can have consequence-free sex just like men. And men get to have more consequence-free sex. It's a win-win in the worst way. Everyone gets what they want, except for millions of unborn babies being sucked out and flushed down the toilet. But there's a problem with how the pro-life movement is handling the fight against abortion. Almost all the time is spent criticizing the abortion movement by focusing on the women. Why are men getting yet another free pass? Yes, a big part of the problem is the growing number of women who see no problem getting an abortion. Abortion for many people is looked at like birth control at this point. But we have to realize that men are a massive part of this problem too. Again, not all men, but a lot of men. So to break this down, I want to share a few statistics with you. So these ones are from the Pew Research Center and the CDC based on 2019 data. So the vast majority of women who got abortions weren't teenagers. 20s or 30s. The vast majority were in their 20s or 30s. Obviously able to be in a committed relationship if they wanted to, but then why were 85% of these women who got abortions unmarried? What about this data from the Guttmacher Institute? 73% said that women who got abortions said that they couldn't afford the baby. 42% said it was because they weren't married. 14% said that they didn't have enough support from their male partner. 12% said that their male partner was unemployed. 48% said that they didn't want to be a single mother or were having relationship problems. 14% said that their male partner wanted them to get an abortion. So take a second and think about those numbers I just threw at you. What went through your head when I listed them off? You know what goes through my head? Yes, I see a woman making a bad decision, but I see a ton of crappy men. Men who fail to live up to their responsibilities. Men who really put women in the position of feeling like they can't afford or handle a child. These men are the root of the problem behind abortion. Men who want to have sex with no consequences. Men who want to be able to run away from their responsibilities. Men who want to abandon their partners. Men who don't want to marry the women they've gotten pregnant. Men who don't want to work to support their partner. There's another thing that gets brought up all the time when conservatives talk about abortions. They bring up the issue of race in that a massively disproportionate number of women who get abortions are black. Why am I bringing this up? It's not to deflect or to dunk on the black community or to throw out some red meat talking points about Planned Parenthood's racist legacy. Too many people bring up the racial breakdown of abortions to correctly attack Democratic Party policy, but how does this help people now? Instead, why don't we think and ask ourselves why so many black women are getting abortions? Might it be because 70% of black babies are born into single-parent homes? 70% is up from 25% in 1965 at the height of the civil rights movement. So when these women are being abandoned by men and live in disproportionately poor neighborhoods with no support and no opportunities, especially from conservatives, are we seriously surprised they are really looking for any desperate way out? If we care about fighting abortion, then we need to look at the problem honestly. Being a pro-life man is not only challenging because we face opposition from the pro-abortion movement. Being a pro-life man is challenging because so many men support abortion for selfish reasons. Unfortunately, even some of the pro-life men are only pro-life in theory. How many men are pro-life right up until they get their girlfriend pregnant? How many conservative politicians can you think of who've paid for an abortion at some point? Don't get me wrong, many women are wrong for getting abortions, but I'm not making excuses to them. I am saying that it's possible to also empathize with the situation they've been put in by men. Yes, in the vast majority of cases, these women chose to have sex. People say they knew the risk. It takes two to tango. Yes, it takes two to tango. That includes both sides. Would these women still get an abortion if their partner was supportive? If their partner provided for their family? If their partner married them? Again, 73% of women said they got an abortion because they thought they couldn't afford a child. What if the man who got these women pregnant got off the couch and worked his ass off to support these children? If men stepped up, 73% of abortions wouldn't even happen. And men are the cause of a lot of other abortions too. What about the 2% of abortions due to rape or incest? These only happen because an evil man committed an evil act in the first place. So being pro-life is pretty hard at times. We're accused of horrible things, and we feel like we're trapped in a twilight zone with people cheering on murder. And being pro-life as a man is really hard because we're dismissed simply because we can't give birth ourselves. But here's what I want everyone to take away. There's more we can do beyond protesting the decision of an abortion. At that point, it's often too late. At the same time, we can try to empathize with the choice many women are making, even if we think it's an awful choice, and understand that for every abortion, there is a man, and a crappy man, who's either there or not. It's time we hold these men to account too. It's time we push our male friends to commit to their girlfriends if they get pregnant, to take responsibility, to grow up, to provide, to care for, to protect, to be a man. Yes, there are some women who take glee in getting abortions, but there are many more women who are getting abortions out of pure desperation. And as more and more unborn children are murdered in the womb, it's about time we hold the man equally responsible as the woman, even if the man is long gone. If men can step up, we can take a massive step in the right direction. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to answering any of your questions.